the arbitration case versus China in the Arbitral Tribunal, Permanent Court of Arbitration, regarding the South China Sea, regarding the West Philippine Sea. It's, we're winners here. That's why now it's incumbent upon the entire nation, the government, the general public, civil society, netizens, everybody, to fight for this historic award and victory given us by the Permanent Court of Arbitration that repudiates China's 9-dash line and affirms the inviolability of our West Philippine Sea. We have achieved a great victory, and we as a nation and people should do everything to protect and preserve what we have won on this historic day. That is every Filipino's sacred duty. Now, what are the key points of the verdict? I'm sure you've read this, but let me quickly summarize them. The first one is about historic rights and the 9-dash line. The tribunal concluded that to the extent China had historic rights to resources in the waters of the South China Sea, such rights were extinguished to the extent they were incompatible with the exclusive economic zone provided for in the convention, that's UNCLOS. The tribunal also noted that although there were 2 Chinese navigators and fishermen, as well as those of other states, had historically made use of the islands in the South China Sea, there was no evidence that China had historically exercised exclusive control over the waters or their resources. Kasi ang ginawa ng China, napadaan lang, kanila na raw yun. Nag-stop over lang, kanila na. If it's going to be the case, then Spain or Portugal would continue to own the Philippines. Kasi medyo matagal-tagal yung pagdaan nila sa atin dito. There was no legal basis for China to claim historic rights. Number 2, status of features. When we say features, these are the atolls, the reefs, the shoals that have been heavily modified by land reclamation and construction. Recall that the convention classifies features on their natural condition. Natural condition. Even if you build a 100-story tower there, they would still refer to the natural condition, whether it's submerged or maybe protruding during low tide or high tide. So the Arbitral Tribunal relied on historical materials in evaluating the features. The tribunal concluded that such the Spratly Islands cannot generate maritime zones collectively as a unit that includes our islands there, like Pag-asa. Having found that none of the features claimed by China was capable of generating an exclusive economic zone, it has to be an island that must be able to sustain human habitation, and declared that certain areas are within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines because those areas are not overlapped by any possible entitlement of China. And in particular, they refer to Mischief Reef, to Ayungin Shoal, and also Reed Bank or Recto Bank. And that's very important because Recto Bank is supposed to be a depository of so much oil or natural gas resources. Number 3, the lawfulness of Chinese actions interfering with Philippine fishing and petroleum exploration, particularly in the Reed Bank or Recto Bank, constructing artificial islands and failing to prevent Chinese fishermen from fishing in the zone. And in particular, it refers to the interference with our fishermen in the Scarborough Shoal area, fishermen from Zambales and Pangasinan. Number 4, harm to marine environment. You know, this is very significant because if you look at the report of the marine, of some expert marine biologists, according to them, the destruction of the coral reefs as a result of the reclamation projects they have there are probably the worst in the history of mankind, causing severe harm to the coral reef environment. The tribunal also found that Chinese authorities were aware that Chinese fishermen have harvested endangered sea turtles, coral, giant clams on a substantial scale in the South China Sea, using methods that inflict severe damage to the coral reef environment, etc., etc. And of course, the aggravation of disputes, for example, standoff between Philippine Marines and the Chinese naval and law enforcement vessels at the second Thomas Shoal. This is a Ayungin Shoal, holding that this dispute involved military activities and was therefore excluded from compulsory settlement. Large-scale reclamation, etc., etc. Okay, so now let's world leaders react to South China Sea ruling. Of course, we have our Foreign Secretary Perfecto Yasay Jr. From Vietnam, from the United States, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Japan, from India, and so many other countries. And of course, we were there yesterday to celebrate even before the ruling came out. We gathered in the Aristocrat restaurant with a big hall there, and after a short program, we marched across Ross Boulevard and made presentations in the seawall fronting Manila Bay. To us, that's very symbolic. We released balloons colored red, white, blue, and yellow, symbolizing our flag. And we also threw sampaguitas into the sea, symbolizing strength and hope, sampaguita being our national flower. So that's a dedication. Now, let's go back to basics. This is the famous, I'm sure you're very familiar with this, but I just would like to start. These are our exclusive economic zone lines, EEZ. These are the sprinklings of little islands, reefs, islets, etc., called Spratlys. Somewhere here is Mischief Reef, then there's Scarborough Shoal. In this was awarded by UNCLOS. However, in 1947, the old government, prior to the takeover of the Communist Party, the PROC, declared unilaterally the so-called 9-dash line that intrudes into our exclusive economic zone. No basis, no coordinates. It's like someone, parang isang tao na nag-claim ng lupa, pero hindi niya ma-describe kung ano yung mga meets and bounds ng kanyang claim. So, it's a very vague claim. So, affected rito, our exclusive economic zone, Brunei's EEZ, Malaysia's EEZ, and Vietnam's EEZ. Ito yung natural exclusive economic zone ng China. But if we look at the South China Sea, it is very difficult to consider the South China Sea without relating it to the Indo-Pacific region, the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean, and the countries therein. Because they interrelate, they will be influencing each other. India is there, Pakistan is there, you have the Arabian Sea, you have the Indian Ocean, Malacca Strait, the Philippines, Taiwan, Japan, Australia. Now, what are the powers in the region? If we study the situation, then we have to consider what are the powers that will have a heavy influence in the region. Of course, there's the United States with its very powerful United States Navy, and it's also equally powerful United States Air Force. I'm not going to give you a detailed presentation on the particular elements of the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Air Force. I think they speak for themselves. But there's China, an emerging power, a very big power. China has an aircraft carrier, the Liaoning. It has a submarine fleet, 5 Jin-class nuclear-powered ballistic submarines, 5 Shang-class nuclear-powered fleet submarines, 12 Kilo-class submarines from Russia, 24 destroyers, the Luoyang class and the Luhai class, a very big air force, not as modern as the Air Force of the United States. They have 75 Sukhoi 27, 25 China-built Shenyang J-11. These are the more prominent, the more visible of their multi-role fighters. 240 Chengdu J-10 multi-role fighters. And there's Japan, which is not a small power. It's also a very big modern power. Japan's military power consists of helicopter destroyers. These are very big destroyers. One of them visited the Philippines about a few months ago. They have very good submarines. In fact, they're considered one of the best builders of submarines in the world. Suryu class and Uyasyo class. The Uyasyo class, or this Uyasyo, also visited us a few months ago. They have very modern, big Aegis destroyers, the Atago class, and then the Congo class, and a very big air force. They manufacture their own multi-role fighters. They have 213 Mitsubishi F-15J, 89 Mitsubishi F-2, and on order. And some of them are going to be delivered this year. 45 F-35A from the United States, and I understand another 28 to be added to the defense budget. There's Vietnam. Vietnam, its most modern component would be 6 Kilo-class submarines ordered from Russia. And 5 have been delivered already, and 1 more under construction. You know, these Kilo-class submarines can give a big headache to the PLA Navy in the South China Sea. They have frigates from Russia, Gepard class. They have corvettes from Russia, from other places, and they have a sizable air force. If we compare to the Air Force of the Philippines, they have 36 Sukhoi 22, 11 Sukhoi 27, and 35 Sukhoi 30, all from Russia. 35, that's quite a big squadron compared to what we have. Australia is there also a power in the Indo-Pacific region with their submarines that are going to be replaced soon. They have landing helicopter docks, several frigates, and several multi-role fighters, F-18, 54 F-18A, and 15 F-18B. They also have the F-18F, 24 of them, and F-35, 2 and 70 F-35s on order. So if the 70 would finally be delivered, they'll have a very powerful air force in the area also. An early warning, they have the E-7 as well as 1 Growler and 11 more on order. The Growler is the EA-18 electronic warfare plane from the USA. India is also a major power. What is India's military power? India is not a South China Sea coastal state, but a potential big player because of its interest in oil exploration with Vietnam. Excuse me. It is concerned about freedom of navigation. It's ranked number 9 military power in the world. And that's the muscle to control the Indian Ocean and the critical sea lines of communications for China. Right now, in my opinion, it can defeat China in any naval conflict in the Indian Ocean, or can easily execute an anti-access area denial strategy in that ocean. What does it have? It has 2 aircraft carriers, 9 Kilo-class submarines, Akula-class nuclear submarines, 9 stealth frigates, and I think 2 of them made